Hi, good morning everyone. Today I just felt the need to do this prediction reading. Now this is actually a world reading. I haven't done a lot of this before, but I felt there's so much chaos and energy and confusion going on out there that it might be good if I just tapped into my guides and we did a reading for the world and the things that are going on out there. Now, I'm going to read it off because I actually did it last night and it's quite complex. So stick with me. There's a lot of very interesting things that have been said. Now, the heading of this reading is actually elementals. And I thought that was kind of a bit odd and out of the blue. So I actually looked it up to get a definition of what elementals means in the case of my reading. And it said that it's supernatural humanoid beings, much like human beings, except for lacking souls. So that's just quoted for what elementals means. You put your own definition to it, but I thought that was kind of a very interesting definition, considering what's going on around the globe at the moment. Now, I'm just going to get started. I'm just going to read it off and I'm going to sort of talk to you as we go. Elementals are very fired up. The significance of creation will get a real backlash. The meaning behind this poses a huge threat to humanity. And I think that's because there's so much confusion. We're all very confused about where we're heading, what's going on. There's new things coming out every day that's causing a lot of chaos for people's lives. Women and children have been pushed aside. And what they're meaning here is that women and children have always sort of been taken care of. But it's almost like with everything that's going on at the moment, they're saying that women and children have actually been pushed aside. We're no longer the priority. You know how they always say if there's a ship sinking, put women and children on first and make them safe. And, you know, this is as well, including I'm getting visions of things around like the whole Afghanistan, when everyone was exiting Afghanistan. A lot of women and children were left in these countries. So there's a lot of things around women, and there's a lot of things also around children, how we're being how they're being pushed aside. The ringleaders are currently forging capitalism. The Hokkien War comes to mind. People battled, and they battled hard. The sheer population and the masses opened the gate. The huge outpouring of rage and hatred came to a head. This is a very troubled time and people want to be taken seriously. So this is in the current energy. It is the divine time that will explain a lot. So that means it's all in the timing of everything. So everything's happening on a timeline that it's meant to be happening. This will be the second outcome. Survival of the fittest. The rage will continue to grow around mandates. There are far too many rules and regulations for people to travel now, and it has been made nearly impossible for people to do these simple things such as travel. Getting a flight will be the easy part. It is getting on board that plane that people will hate, meaning the whole process, meaning it's got to the point of like ridiculousness, you know, with quarantining and having to get all your tests done 72 hours or whatever before or after. Like, it's all just getting overly complicated, and I think everybody's aware of that. Big Pharma is well versed, meaning they're very, very clever with the way that they put the messages out there. They have their plethora of men to adhere and be compliant. When it comes to survival, we want to reiterate, this is about soul strength. Who is battle hardened and who can fight with their own sword? In other words, the sword represents the extension of our body. Like a knight in battle charging forth to appease the fight. And that's true. Like if you think of the soldiers or any of the knights and things like that, that sword became a part of them. So in these battles, you've got to kind of find your sword, and that's kind of the analogy that they're giving you there. People are being bundled up in categories. This is again on the rise, meaning, for example, lower class, middle class, ill, terminally ill, hunters, gatherers, etc. These are just some examples, and I think we know this has happened a lot in the past. History repeats itself. And you know how that goes. It doesn't end very well. People will begin to strike, I believe, as these mandates begin to take effect. So as they start to implement these things and force people to be mandated under these laws and a lot of things that are currently going on, I feel like there's going to be a lot of strikes. And these strikes will be on a very large scale. The evidence will be very strong about the strikes. A lot of people are not going to be happy with what's being implemented around the globe. On a global scale, we will be on a clear path of divide for the rest of this year. That's 2021. Once the variants hit Asia, the people will act very fast. Timelines show us the path that will lead us out. Factor in the weather. We feel that someone will be held factor in the weather, Factor in the weather, and we feel that someone will be held accountable. And that means what they're saying there about the weather is it depends on like whether you're going into winter or whether you're coming out of summer. The weather actually plays a big part in how this is all traveling around the globe. The blame game is not working anymore. People will be busting through and ignoring laws and legislation. In other words, they've really had enough. People are really tired of being sort of directed and told what to do, and it's like we have no voices. People realise en masse that there is strength and power. So that's by all coming together and having our voices and being heard and sticking together that we have a lot more power instead of sort of as individuals. People are starting to smell a rat. The last 2 years have shaken people to the core. They have only been delivered overwhelming and dysfunctional choice. Now people are wanting to be free. And I think that's, as a human being, that's something that we're all striving for. What once divided will now start to conquer. So the things that have divided us will now start to bring us together. And that's the bizarre part about this whole scenario and what we've all been going through in the last couple of years is that it's the one thing that's actually going to start to unite us. No religious divides, no capitalism. It will not be tolerated anymore. Nations have spoke. People will stop lining up, and that means doing repetitive things that aren't serving them anymore. Far cry from the beginning, that's for sure. People will take advantage of creating their new lives. So I think people are wanting to have a lot more input into their future going forward, which you would expect after such challenging times of, not having jobs, not having income, everyone being stuck in their homes. There's been a lot going on. So people are wanting to change those things and take charge now. Things such as filming, creating and spying will become very controversial. So I feel going into 2022, these are the actions that are going to make people very uncomfortable, and they're going to start to get really addressed in 2022. People's focus will be to destroy government policies and embed the votes of the people. People vote for their heads of state, but they want to be involved in the everyday decisions. And it's bizarre because I woke up this morning and in Switzerland that's already happening. They're already allowing the public to actually go to the vote and have a say in how they move forward. So I thought that was really interesting as well. If you probably look that up, Switzerland, you might get some info on the people being brought to the vote. Things such as mask wearing, these are examples of what people are wanting to sort of vote on. Things such as mask wearing, dismissing the apps off their phones, and having no more check-in codes and passports, obviously, because they're just exhausted from all this way of living. It just doesn't seem to create that flow in people's lives, and they've sort of had enough. We deliver a message here to you all. There is a lot of controversy at the moment. We advise not to push uphill, but to float with the stream. This is not suggesting that we all comply, but drifting at sea is too lonely. Yes, there has been a lot of mistakes, but everything happens for a reason. I believe that Biden, he came up as well, will not be in for long, and change will bring great constitution going forward. Happiness is what should be mandated with a capital H. We are all looking for productivity, compliance in reconnecting. That's what people are wanting now. No more time for rack and ruin. People want to now live in a stable state. And that means in the way that they're feeling. People don't feel stable. They still feel like things could sort of change at any minute. And that's not a very nice feeling. It doesn't give people that calm state. It gives people a lot of anxiety and fears and worries going forward into the future. Time heals all wounds, but this troubled time has created many wounds. People have suffered enough in many ways, and capitalism is dying. The masses are now feeling discord. They have been coerced into giving up their desires and prevented from living their happy lives. Living in a state of flux has exhausted the majority of people. Time to pull the rug out from underneath you now, so you can land on your feet. So the guides are virtually saying that, okay, let's pull that rug out and let's land on our feet. This is not defeat or back to the drawing board, because I think a lot of people with the new variant that's out now are just sort of rolling their eyes and sighing and thinking, oh my God, here we go again. It is that Groundhog Day they joke about. It's variant day again, you know. That's how people are feeling. They're just exhausted from this repetitive kind of cycle they just can't seem to get off. This is time for strength and courage, and time to go down. And the song that they've given me, which I think most people will recognize to finish off this reading, is Bon Jovi, and it's called Down in a Blaze of Glory. So I played the song last night, and I think you should play it too. It's quite inspiring, but it's like you're not going to give up no matter what's coming at you. The song sort of inspires you because you're not going to give up. You're still going to fight for what your freedoms are and what you're feeling. And this is for everyone across the globe. This isn't just for people on one side. This is about uniting and all of us going down and putting up a fight now, because it's time. It's time that we stood up and we aired the things that we're feeling and how this is affecting our lives. We need to find that voice. In other words, keep fighting, unite, and stop harboring resentment and pain. So I think the message there is pretty clear that we've got to kind of stand up and we've got to all try and unite and get our lives back, because that's what this reading is about. I felt the urge to do this reading. Like I said, the heading was elementals. You can go and look that up yourself if you want to. And I think that's something that we've really got to kind of wake up to now and start to find those ways clear to get our lives moving forward. Because I think pretty much everybody, like I said, around the globe has lost a couple of years out of their life. And what gives people the right to keep you from your family, to keep you from your friends, and to keep you from living your best life? I mean, this has affected so many adults around the world. I do really worry about what's happening to our kids out there. And I don't mean just by what they're being injected with. I mean about their mental and emotional state moving forward, because they've got to be feeling a lot of the fears and worries and confusion that we all are as well. So that's something else to really consider. So look, I hope you enjoyed that little reading today. I just thought it would be really helpful, because there is a lot of chaos at the moment. We keep seeing all the protest marches and people are trying to stand up and sort of have that fight in them. Subscribe to my channel if you want to check out my prediction readings. I do them monthly, weekly, and I also have many self-help videos. If you are feeling anxious, worried, suffering depression, or going through some turbulent times, I've got hundreds on there that can help you around these situations as well. Hit those like buttons, and I will see you in that next video. Bye.